Yo, what's going on? Mike from Mike Talk Sports. Michigan just beat Ohio State in a 30-24 thrilling game that came down to the last minute possession for OSU. So in today's episode of Mike Talk Sports, I'm going to be breaking down and diving into the very interesting game that was performed by Kyle McCord in order to determine how good did he play in this game. The first three possessions for Kyle McCord in this OSU offense sure as hell was extremely ugly. So they started off the game with a very disappointing 3-and-out, and then their second drive was followed by another punt, and then the third drive really is where disaster struck for OSU, and this really was one of the main reasons they ended up losing this game, as on the first play, Kyle McCord made a vital mistake, throwing an interception at the Michigan 18, which not only set up an extremely easy Michigan touchdown, but more importantly, it got the momentum ball rolling for Michigan, and really it looked like OSU had no answers offensively for this Michigan defense. And at this point in the game, mentally, I completely wrote off Kyle McCord and this OSU offense. I said if Kyle McCord can't get the ball rolling in terms of the passing game, he really has nothing in the running game to really contribute to a significant degree in this game. And it really just seemed as though the moment looked way too big for Kyle McCord. He was going to end up having a horrible game, and OSU was going to look to move on from him at the end of this season. But this is where Kyle McCord not only proved me wrong, but proved most of the doubters wrong, as the mental toughness and the clutch gene of Kyle McCord really did come to fruition in the second, third, and fourth quarter of this game. Now, of course, I will be discussing the game-losing interception at the end of this video, but in my opinion, I was just so goddamn impressed with Kyle McCord's performance for the rest of this game outside of that 4-for-10 start for him. So after that 4-for-10 start, he ended up finishing the game 14-for-20 with 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. And really overall, he looked so calm and surgical out there. So after that interception drive, he led OSU to a really nice 9-play, 51-yard field goal drive. And this was capped off with a really nice 24-yard play to Marvin Harrison. And he really did start to get Marvin Harrison involved in this game. And next drive again, he answered the call. Even though OSU's defense had been struggling at this point in the game, he led them to a 7-play, 73-yard touchdown drive where Kyle McCord had some of his best plays in the entire game. And this drive was highlighted by a really nice 32-yard play to Cade Stover. And then he ended the drive with a really nice play call from head coach Ryan Day, getting Kyle McCord to roll out to his right on a nice 3-yard touchdown pass on a play-action boot. To me, the highlight of the entire day for Kyle McCord was the end of the second quarter. OSU really needed at least a field goal to head into half, as Michigan was going to get the ball to go into the third quarter. So again, it was vital for this OSU team to not only put up points on the board, but more importantly, to take back a lot of that momentum that Michigan had at the beginning of the game. And even though Kyle McCord will really never get his credit and his flowers for this end of the quarter drive, as they ended up missing a 50-yard field goal, Kyle yet again looked surgical in a 8-play, 64-yard drive. Again, it was capped off by that missed field goal, but Kyle McCord had, in my opinion, the best play of his entire college career on an incredible 44-yard pass to Marvin Harrison. And even though this was a great catch by Marvin Harrison, that's something we expect out of Marvin Harrison at this point in his OSU career. What we don't expect is for Kyle McCord to step up in the face of pressure, do a really nice job at manipulating the pocket, stepping up, buying himself enough time with that nice play extension within the pocket, taking a huge hit, yet delivering the ball downfield on a nice 44-yard pass. Again, this play really did just show the mental toughness of Kyle McCord, and even though they went into the half scoreless after this drive, it really did give me the confidence that Kyle McCord would play good enough in the second half for OSU to win, and that's exactly what happened in my opinion, even though they ended up coming short in this game. In the first drive of the third quarter, after a nice Michigan drive to start the half, this OSU offense really did answer the call with a nice 12-play, 75-yard touchdown drive, and while Kyle McCord McCord only really had one big play in this drive with a nice 14-yard play to Marvin Harrison. It really was the run game that started to catch fire as they ran the ball 9 times on this drive and really started to gash that Michigan run defense. After this drive, OSU did have a pretty disappointing 3-and-out, but then Kyle McCord led OSU to a clutch 8-play, 65-yard touchdown drive that was highlighted by a 14-yard Marvin Harrison touchdown pass on a nice drag route. Kyle McCord did a good job getting the ball out of his hand early to have Marvin Harrison make a play with the ball in his hands, which is what Marvin Harrison always does. To me, there were 2 significant reasons to why OSU ended up losing this game. One, it was Kyle McCord's early mistakes in the first quarter, throwing that vital interception that ended up having Michigan have that really easy touchdown drive. But after that, by far the second significant reason why OSU lost this game is the next possession. Michigan ended up going on a 7-minute field goal drive that ended up eating the entire clock for OSU and ended up leaving them with no timeouts and only 1 minute to go down the entire length of the field for a game-winning touchdown. And in my opinion, Kyle McCord looked pretty clutch in the first couple of plays of this drive as he had 2 huge passes in a row, a 22-yard pass, then a 21-yard pass that was really weird with a fumble in there. Thank God for OSU that they were able to recover that fumble. And then the last play of the game now, let's break down that interception. So the interception at the end of the game, Kyle McCord obviously could not take a sack in that situation. The game most likely would have been over, and he couldn't throw the ball short of the first down, as again the game probably would have been over. So he really did have to either A, throw the ball out of bounds, and while that would have been the better play for Kyle McCord, he really did have no time to do so, or 2, he had to force the ball over the middle of the field, trying to get the ball in the hand of Marvin Harrison. And even though Kyle McCord wasn't able to do this, as he ended up getting hit, and it was a significant underthrow to have the game-sealing interception for Michigan, I honestly don't even really blame Kyle McCord too much for that game-losing interception. Overall, I'm going to give Kyle McCord's performance in this game a solid B. I thought he looked clutch, calm, cool, and collected, and overall surgical in the pocket and throwing the football within the pocket in the second, third, and even the fourth quarter. But of course, those 2 huge interceptions is what ended up causing OSU to end up losing this game, along with OSU's defense and their inability to stay off the field, specifically in the fourth quarter. Honestly, if you guys told me that Kyle McCord would play like this at the beginning of the game, then I would say to you guys, yeah, OSU's probably going to end up winning the game. I genuinely think Kyle played good enough for OSU to win this game, but I do think their defense ended up letting them down again, specifically on that 7-minute drive to end the game. Thanks for watching today's episode of Mike Talk Sports. Let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on this OSU Michigan game? In my opinion, it was a phenomenal game. And what are your thoughts on Kyle McCord's performance? He genuinely played better than I expected him to play, especially considering the bad start he had at the beginning of this game. If you enjoyed today's episode of Mike Talk Sports, I really appreciate it. Smack that like and hit subscribe. Also, I apologize for the lack of highlights in this video. I just uploaded this entire video with the highlights and it got copyright struck by Fox Sports Media. So I have to upload this video again, but without the highlights. Again, I apologize for that, guys.